welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick for the City of Hampton. And today we are going to meet with a superhero and a villain to talk about some events at the Hampton Public Library. My guests are Superman, aka Eric Wilson, and Bane, also known as Ben, say it for me?
Luandiko.
Luandiko, okay. And your costume's a little mild, so tell us a little bit about Bane.
Bane is from the movies, the Batman movies, but the Batman comic books. Bane is the villain, the main villain for the last Dark Knight Rises movie, and he focuses mostly on destroying Batman. Yeah, he's a villain for Batman.
You know, this is important too, because I think sometimes when I think of superheroes, I go straight to the movies. And obviously, with the library, you're encouraging people to read.
Yes, we are.
So the Dark Knight books, the, comic books are a way that a lot of kids or mid-range kids stay involved with reading. Yes. Right? I mean, it can be very motivating, especially for guys.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of comic books in the library. A lot of people don't usually expect that, but we do have quite a collection. And one of them is the Batman series. If you're trying to get an introduction to comic books, the library is a great place to start out. So,
it is, and that's why you guys do this event. And Eric, tell us a little bit about Superhero Day at the library. It's always during spring break,
yes,
which makes it a great activity for families and kids, during that time.
Absolutely. It's a community event. So we have people come out, they're real superheroes like firefighters, police officers, military, and it's a place where everyone comes to meet. They play superhero games and just come dressed up as their favorite superhero and just have a really good time meeting other people.
And as we're taping this, this will be your third year, but it was an event, I mean, it hasn't been around very long, and yet it is one of your biggest events of the year, right?
Yes, it definitely is.
Why is that? And why are grown men, showing up in costume? Like, what is it about superheroes?
It's fun. It's fun to come and pretend to be a fantastic hero who's involved in a great story. So even adults, I mean, it really doesn't have an age range. If you look online, you see a lot of people like to talk about it. A lot of people getting arguments just talking about superheroes, which is kind of crazy, but this is another way you can just come out and represent for the characters that you love, characters that start out in books or start out in comic books. And I think everybody from any age range loves that.
There's a certain thing about dress up, period. And it's like why Halloween is apparently the second most popular holiday of the year. I mean, people like to be someone else for a short amount of time. But particularly with superheroes, there's a power and a strength and a fighting, fighting evil, doing good, or sometimes being evil can be fun too if you're just putting on that character for a short amount of time.
I prefer that one. I mean, heroes don't get to have as much fun. I don't know about him, but I prefer to be the bad guy. Everybody likes to root against them, but they pay more attention to the bad guy. Yeah.
Oh, Superman has fun every day now.
Well, if you say so.
Yeah. So, Eric, why Superman?
Well, he's a classic. It's when someone thinks of superhero, it's Superman.
Yeah. And if you take off the glasses, let's see, Clark. You do look like a different person. That always puzzled me, why anyone thought he looked completely different when he took off his glasses. Didn't have to put on a mask.
That's
but, I can kind of see it. It does work. So, this was initially envisioned as an event for kids, right? You work in the children's section. It's to get kids excited about the library, show them what's in there, have some fun, but all with a edge toward reading and literacy and staying engaged in fiction.
Oh, definitely. So throughout the department, we have superhero books on display throughout. So the kids can come in, say they dress up as Spider-Man. Let's go check out a Spider-Man book. So it really just shows off our collection. They get to see all the other superhero books we have to offer, and they might find a superhero they've never seen before. So it's
there are
there's a lot of
comic book superheroes that haven't made the transition.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point because I started out reading as a child. I started out with comic books, and it was at the library. In fact, it was in New Orleans. But I started out with the comic books, and then I found out that there are actually other characters that are superheroes, but they never make it to comic books. They're actually just in the books. And that's how you end up leading into reading into other stories in the books because you want to find out more. So it's a great introduction to kids who are trying to you're trying to get into reading.
Well, and the whole graphic novel, you know, keeps that going. And little series like Captain Underpants, you can count him as a superhero, right?
Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
you can.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
That is great early reading material for elementary school kids.
Definitely.
Yep.
So what happens, generally speaking, during the day? You have real-life superheroes who
Right.
fight crime.
Right.
That's great. And wars and, you know, defend people.
Okay, so one of the highlights is our superhero parade. So all the children would get together and walk around the department, show off their costumes. And also we have an event where the police officers and firefighters will come in with their vehicles, a fire truck and the police vehicle for the kids to look at. So it's a really fun event. We also have...
It's not as cool as the Batmobile, but it's cool,
I know,
right?
but it's still kind of, yeah.
If we had the Batman,
That would be a showstopper right there.
yes.
Hey, I think the
It would.
police wish they had a Batmobile, you
Yes,
know?
that's true.
Give me some more gadgets.
Exactly.
That would be very great. But
And we also have a room set with Legos for them to build whatever they want to. So it's really a fun event. We have games scattered throughout, crafts. So it's just a really engaging program.
And you bring in usually, I know it varies year to year, but you bring in someone who's sort of in a professional level costume
Yes.
to engage with the kids also.
Right. We have the superhero squad, Todd Ryder superhero squad coming.
No way. There's really such a thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's so
there are
cool.
people who dedicate their lives to just doing that, and they love doing it. And we welcome them to come at the library and have a chance to get in touch with the community and show off what they can do.
So I know that in some ways, some people think nerd is a little bit of a derogatory term. I come from a family, I'm a mom of nerds, and they're proud of the term.
It's a
But
compliment.
it is,
It is.
you know, it is kind of a compliment. But people who are into this, and then they, you know, want to give back to the community, interact with kids, show off their costumes and their skill, and you know, it's a great thing. We all get to be little kids some of the time, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And if you come to the Superhero Day, you get to see a nice little show that we put on. Every year we have the Superhero Day. We have a skit put on for the kids that the kids get to participate in a little. We'll have a villain and a superhero go at it. I think the very first one we did, we had
Go at it verbally, or are we swinging fake punches here?
the first one. The first one, it was actually Bane and the Batman, and we kind of went at it. It was very entertaining for the kids. The kids hated Bane.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, they were really up against him, and I think it kind of says something about the skit that we put on. And then the year after that, we had, just last year, we had Baymax and from Big Hero 6 and his villain, Yokai, and the kids loved that one as well. They got candy and books to read and everything. And this year, it's going to be Ninja Turtles. And so we're looking forward to putting on a show for that one as well.
That sounds like a lot of fun, and it really engages the imagination.
Yes.
So some of these kids, maybe it's the first time they've come into the library. You're going to rope them in, like you said. You're showing them the Legos so they can come back and do that either with the Lego Club or just on their own. You're showing them the comic books that you have, the other things that they can do. And you're going to introduce, well, it's not for the little kids, but for the older kids,
Yes.
16 and up.
Yes, we have to have something for all the different age ranges. And anybody 16 and up, there's a new program that I started off. We've had the last 2 months. It's called Literary Fight Club. And it really is what it says. It's a literary fight club, but it's really a debate club. What you do is you pick your favorite characters from books or movies or comic books, and whichever character you pick, you have to represent them at the fight club scene. And what that is going to be is pretty much face-off between other characters as well. For instance, last night we had a program, and we had Darth Vader, who had to debate against an alien from the movies Alien. And they went at it pretty much for like almost 15 minutes trying to debate who would win in a battle between the two of them. And we had a lot of fun. So that's the kind of thing we offer for the Literary Fight Club.
That is a lot of fun, but it involved, I mean, you got to do some research. You've got to know what Batman could do in different circumstances, and different aliens and how things would interact.
You have to be a real fan. You have to be a real fanboy so you can defend the character that you love and respect. So
have you had the Who's Cooler, Batman versus Superman yet? I mean,
you know what? Funny enough, we haven't had that one yet.
No way.
Yeah,
I thought that would be first off the list.
And we launched it right after.
My nerd herd would have been right up there.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, this one is the classic one, Batman versus Superman. But nobody has kind of stepped up to do it.
So you sort of manage that, or does it happen organically?
I know. I manage it, and I offer, if people don't have any ideas for characters, I usually have a list of characters already picked out for the specific event. Last night was all sci-fi. So all the characters were sci-fi characters. So it's always
brings out a slightly different audience sometimes.
So that's why we had Vader and the alien. But for the next one, April 19th, it's actually going to be all villains. So there won't be any superheroes invited. It'll just be super villains. And if you have a favorite super villain that you love and you like to represent, you think they can beat everybody else, we welcome you to come and defend them.
That is so cool. Now, traditionally, superheroes have been fairly overwhelmingly white and male. But we're seeing, I think, a more broad interpretation. We're seeing more female characters. We're seeing more African-American characters or characters with other ethnicities. Are you seeing that in the kids, too? I mean, are girls into this? Are you seeing a wider variety of kids?
Oh, yes, everyone's into it. And it doesn't matter where you come from. It's a chance for you to really bring out the power within. So if you see yourself with a specific superpower, you can make your own superhero if you want. It doesn't have to be one that's in a comic book. You can come dressed up as your own if you would like to do that.
But there are quite a few nowadays. There are quite a few characters. There are brand new characters, and some of them classic characters.
That have been reinterpreted.
Exactly, yeah. I know for a fact we have a few movies coming out where, like Wonder Woman, for instance, is the main movie coming out recently. She's going to be a big one for any women or any girls who wish to come and represent her. And there's also going to be Captain Marvel from the Marvel side. And there's quite a few that you'd be surprised you'll be able to see. Recently, we had Luke Cage. He's a big African-American superhero. He's with the Avengers, and he's more on Netflix, but he came out recently. And it's really diverse nowadays, and we're starting to see that there's actually a lot of depth behind superheroes and all the stories that they represent.
That's wonderful. And stories is what it all gets back to, is telling stories, using your imagination, getting an imagination through reading, through developing all that in your mind.
Yeah.
And
it really inspires critical thinking. I mean, once you put your imagination into something, you start thinking about a lot of it, and you develop the skills about solving problems creatively, so it helps, yeah.
Learning how to write, learning how to tell stories, you know, it's kind of a basic education for kids, and it's in a fun way that they can really appreciate.
Definitely.
Okay, well, thank you guys. I look forward, if I don't make it, to seeing all the photos. I saw some wonderful pictures last year, but this is, again, a big cornerstone event for the library, so very exciting.
Yep.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. I hope that if you want to don a superhero costume or be a villain for a day, or, you know, as an excuse, bring a younger child with you as well, you will enjoy Superhero Day at the library. Thanks for watching.